In this tutorial, we are going to talk about site topography. I know you might say, man, what the heck? Yeah, site topography is super important for what we have to talk about, because if we don't handle site topography, then we're not actually giving you the information that you need. So we'll talk about site topography, creation techniques, whether it's a sketch, import, subdivision, enhancements. We're going to open up Revit 2026 sample site, as you can see that I have here, and then I am actually going to go to the site. Super important, because when we're in the site, we're going to create our own too, but actually I just want you to see overall what you're actually dealing with, okay? Because when you're actually dealing with the sites, everything else, what you're looking at is link components and then the actual site itself. So right now you see how it has site topography dash line. So what I want you to do is, in this case, click on that. And I want you to go over to where it says this modified Toposolids up here. Okay, you're gonna see edit sketch, modify sub elements, add points, split line, fix the porch, reset shape, subdivide, simplify Toposurface, excavate. All right, so in all these different moments, you can go through and tackle a lot of these different elements. Now I want you to also go to 3D, and I want you to click on 3D. All right, it's super important that we look at the model from all areas, okay? And especially with our workflow, I'm gonna make sure we cancel out this cover sheet up here. And then I want you to hit WT, which is window tile. And we're gonna look at these in two different components. So that way we can see everything you see, and then we're gonna see the same thing in the components over here for the topography surface. All right, when you're in Revit, always remember, we're always going to be working in 3 dimensions and 2 dimensions at the same time. That is utilizing the parametric engine. So now what I'm going to do in both scenarios is I am going to toggle off all the different environments right now and only focus on the topography. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and say VV, and let's just make sure that we have access to it. VV is visibility graphics. It just gives us the ability to go through our project. Let me scroll down here and let me get out of this template. So right now it's on a template. That's why everything's locked up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit none. Hit OK. What I just did is I came down here to view template. Maybe just set to none and then come back. So now when I hit VB again, now you'll see I have all the access. So now what I'm gonna do is Revit links, and I'm gonna uncheck both boxes, and then I'm hit OK. And I'm doing that because I only want to focus on what my topography is. Then outside of that, I want to go ahead and click on this box. I highlight these buildings, and then I'm going to go ahead and right click. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit hide elements. And now look, I just have my box right here. And don't rush. We will go through how to create this topography as well. Okay. So the first thing I want you to see is click on all these different components. As you can see here, each topography has something different. This one is water. If I click on this one, sidewalk, all right? Then if I click over here, grassland, all right? And then when I click on here, on top of it, asphalt, pavement, okay? So as you can see here, there are many different areas. And in 2026, we can also be able to bring different floors and stuff over ditches and anything else like that to create this atmosphere, which we didn't have before, and the topography and negative and plus settings. So what I wanted you to see is just all the different components when we're looking at all these different things. As you can see, what's highlighting, topography makes up a bunch of different elements. It makes up the site, it makes up if you add water, it makes up the pavement, it makes up the sidewalk, it makes up the parking lot. And so even the details that you can see here, the decals. So it makes up a bunch of different things for you to understand that, okay, and look, when we're talking about parametric engine, as you can see here, you can see my 2D plan. Here's all the information that way. So now what I'm going to do is show and understand that we are going to really go ahead and show you once we go through the properties, and then we're going to actually create our own. So now if I click on this, you see it says grassland topography. Now, there's a couple ways I can do this. I can go ahead and see where it says edit sketch, right? But also, I want you to go over here and where it says edit type, because I want you to see what it's doing. It's telling you the level datum, and it's saying the offset off of the level is this, and 54 feet. Now, sometimes you want to set to 0, 0. That's why I'm showing you this. Or sometimes you may want elevation. It's your choice, okay? If you click on here and say, hey, where do I want this? I can do project site, right? It could be a different ways for where you want this to go. Now, if I change that, it may now say I'm going to go to project 00, or depending on where I have the datum, just so you understand that it's showing. If I was to, I'm going to undo this too, but it's just showing that if I wanted to, it will now change the 00 based upon where I have that 00. Okay, so super important. I'm going to go ahead and hit back, and I am going to bring this. All right, as you can see here. All right, so don't worry about if everything goes anywhere. You can always hit the undo button. All right, so now I'm going to go back to here. And I want you to hit this. I want you to hit edit type. I want you to understand what's going on and how Revit's reading the information. In this particular component, Revit's reading the information saying this type is being told that, hey, I'm a grassland. All right, so now I need to know how to function. How much information am I doing? If I hit structure, as you can see here, it's saying, hey, the structure is going to be 20 feet earth. And then it's saying that, hey, 4 inches of this is going to be gravel. Then another 4 inches is going to be finished. So I'm bringing this up to show you how the topography is built. Okay, so when you see all this information and you want to go behind the scenes to understand what is going on, well, this is why you go into the edit assemblies or the type properties to understand this is all the components of the topography. Okay, our goal is for you as a beginner to understand what it is that you're looking for and how to be able to create all these different things and create the efficiencies that you need overall. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK. Okay, and then hit OK one more time. Same thing here. I'm gonna click on the water, and now I'm gonna come back over here. As you can see right here, it's telling me the height offset. See how it's saying level project. So it's saying whatever it's related to. That's why it says project and not datum. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and hit type again. And now look, if I go over here to edit type, what does it say? This structure, I know it says structure, bypass that. It's saying that this water is now set to the thickness of 30, okay? But the one thing also, we're saying this is not a structural material, so it understands that this is not structure. And so now it acts like water because we don't have this box checked right here. So with that being said, I'm gonna cancel out of this. All right, we're just kind of going to do a deconstruct so that way we can build it on our own. Same thing here with the asphalt, like we talked about, the different types. As you can see, if I click over into properties, look at the different pavement properties as concrete, toposolid, water, all right? So these are all the different components that you want to go ahead and create. But look at all the different stuff here. Say right now, it's saying we're going to kind of recreate the same thing. Asphalt, grass, all right? So all those different components are there. Same thing with this. Now, if I was to go ahead and hit modify or edit sketch, now I'm going to go ahead and what you're going to see is sketch. Well, what do you mean by sketch? Well, all this is sketched out when you draw it. And so when you draw it, that's what you're seeing here. This is giving you a sketch. And if I click on this in the floor plan, look at all the different components to make a sketch. And each time I click on a different sketch, what you're going to see is different parts. All those different parts are saying these are all variations of the variation of land. Look at the heights, look at the lengths, look at the slope. Okay, a lot of these different areas of the sketch, and that's what's going on. Don't worry, we're going to show you how to get to all this, but I just wanted to show you what's going on. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and hit green check mark. And then the next step, now that we've kind of deconstructed what all the different properties things make up, you're going to say, well, what's next? Well, it's time for us to do an overview to create our own, so you guys can kind of see what's next. So what we're going to do now in this particular case is in the 3D view, hold the left mouse click all the way to the left and the right, and now we're going to hit delete. You're like, what? Delete? Yes, we're going to hit delete. It's gone. Now we're going to come back to the site plan over here, right? Now from that, I want you now to go over to the architecture tab, right? And now it is going to be our turn to create the site. And we should have a tab. And if you don't see the different tabs, what we'll do is just go in here and make sure the tabs are possible. So right now, what we're going to do is hit architectural. You see that? But we need the site tab. So we're going to hit file. I want you to hit options. And then when we go down here, it's going to say user interface. And then what we're going to do right now, it should be a site tab. So right now, you see it says massing and site. I want to check that box, and magically what you're going to see is when you come back up in here, voila, look, you have your whole site tab. Okay, just so you know, that's how you can add the site tab or not have the site tab. Most of the time I only turn those on when I need them. So right now you have your different components for your sites and your masses. And so in this particular case right now, what we're getting ready to do from a massing standpoint is creating this entire scenario. See how it says topography creates solid topography. So now you look, if you create that, you got two different components. You got create from sketch, or you got to create from import. Now in this case, we're showing you to create from sketch command. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and hit this, and now what it's going to do is, here, let me get rid of this right now, bring it back later. Now what I'm going to do is create my boundary lines. Okay, so in this case, I'm just do a little square rectangle and say, hey, my project is 0, 0, which is fine. And I'm just going to go here and say, all right, so here is this. So now I'm just going to kind of just encapsulate what I'm looking to do. So I want to just do this area here. So I'm going to just do that. It's okay. Now I'm just going to do this. Right. Now remember, we're just doing this as a quick overview. Make sure it's always connected. All right. So now that that's being set, that's going to be your topography. Now it's saying topography solid. In this case, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and say topography grasslands. Right. And so now that that's being topography grasslands, remember, you have to set the tone. We're going to utilize the things that's already set up in here before. As you can see, when we do that, it's going to say here's a thickness of 28, like we talked about before. And now we're going to go ahead and check the box. All right. So now I'm going to go back to that 3D view. And what you're going to see is if I hit WT now, the window tile, as you can see here, you'll see, hey, all right, cool, this project, cool, you see it here. You say, well, what am I missing? Why is it not high enough? Remember I was showing you a trick before when you're looking at the project, where is it at? So in this case, I got that selected. Now, you see where it says datum? I'm going to switch that. All right, so now all that information, now I have it turned off here, the buildings, right? But if I want to turn those buildings back on just to check, go ahead and click. Now, keep in mind, guys, if I want to, I can import different sketches from a software called Format. I can bring in import a CAD file to create my topography surfaces and things of that nature. But in this case, I have it here. I just want to check my buildings. I want to hit BV, and I want to go ahead and say Revit links. I just want to check something. Check both of those boxes. I'm going to show you why I want to check both of those boxes, because I want to be able to see, hey, look, what are they using? What are my project base points are, right? Because sometimes, like I said before, you remember what it said when it was datum? It was 754. So guess what? 754. See, this is why we wanted to do this, to show you the process, show you what's going on. So now I changed the datum, and now I'm back at level because I remember what it was before, right? And so now, as you can see, this is why you want to work in 2 planes to be able to see what's going on. Because see, in the floor plan, it looked like I was perfect, but in the 3D, I knew that I had some work to do. Okay, all right, so now I'm about to go back to my floor plan over here. All right, so now what do we have to do? Now I want to go ahead and create a couple different avenues. Now I want to put a modified subsurface. So I can do it 2 ways, but I'm going to do it in my sketch pan. And I say, hey, well, now I want to go ahead and create a negative value. So now let's go ahead and modify the sub element. Let's see here. Well, nope, I'm going to keep this right here for right now. I'm going to escape. And I'm going to do this again, click on it. And if you ever get this box where it's showing that you cut off a little bit, it is, so what you want to do is just make sure you go over here and do your visible crop setting, just to make sure that you have your crop. It's right here. And so that you can stretch everything else out like you need, so that way you're not cut off on your floor plan. So now I'm just stretching everything out, and then I'll turn this thing off. All right. And so it's super important avenue to just make sure that we guys are just keeping the visibility of what we're looking at perfectly. So now I'm gonna just uncheck that box again. Yeah, now we're working with something. So I'm gonna click on this again. Now in this case, all right, I'm at modify sketch. Now look, it's got this going on here. So now I'm gonna create a different boundary. All right. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and this one, I'm just gonna say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do this. So in this case, it's saying the height offset level is this one right here, right? So in this case, I want you to understand that this is saying here is what our thickness is going to be. I'm saying that this is not going to be that thickness. I'm going to say this is going to be 10 feet. And I'm going to say this is going to be in the negative direction. All right. Okay, cool. So now I got that datum, height off level. I want to show you what's going to happen. I'm going to hit a checkbox. All right. So what you want to see now, what did it do? What did it create? Now it created this hole, right? Don't worry about what was going to happen. We're going to create something that's going to be in that hole. But what it did do is to say, hey, I can go ahead and hit split lines, pick supports. All right, that's one thing. I can create subdivide if I need to. I can excavate. And we're going to do it. I just want to show you, look how the topography changes based off of what just happened. All right, now I can create that and make sure that those are in there as supports, as just in a sketchboard, or I can come back, because, you know, like I said, I can just draw a pavement here, I can do a pool here, I can do a bunch of different things, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit undo again. All right, and so now what we're gonna do is just give you a little undo that, hit a check mark. Now I got this and say, hey, what am I gonna do here? Now I got this here, and I can say, let me make sure we're gonna create a subdivide. Boom. All right, subdivide this. Now what? Let's go. Typically, I like doing this on the floor plan. We just talked about this. Don't have to be accurate, but I want to show you now this one. All right, it says grassland. I can do grass here. I can do asphalt here. I can do topography here, but I'm just go ahead and say just keep it a different one. All right, and then watch this. Now, with that subdivide offset, now I can say, okay, cool. First time we can do this. What did I just do now? I just put negative 10 foot. Now, look what I got. I got the subdivide here, and now I got the room to go ahead and create something in here based upon the excavation. Now, that's what you want, because now, say for instance, I want to go ahead and create another subdivide or anything going across this area. Well, guess what? I can do that, guys. I got the stuff. I got the list. I got everything that I need to do. If I want to create property lines, if I want to create a floor plan, right? Like we talked about before, I can create just clicking on the different elements. Now I got all these tools. I can add points, subdivide, excavations. You know, if I have dirt that needs to meet in different places, I can create those subdivides, but now I have information to go ahead and then fill in the area. So now in this case, all right, I got this area here, and I want to go ahead and create another element. So now I'm going to say, okay, cool. Let me go back from scratch. All right, remember what we had before, 754. This one, we're gonna switch this to what? Water. Cool. Now let's do this. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that this stays here for what. Let's see where this goes. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and click on these lines. Okay, it says thickness. I'm gonna hit edit type, change the thickness of this one. I'm gonna do 10 feet. I hit okay. I'm gonna tell you what I hit too. So by the way, I don't want to go too fast. In the water, I hit this, I hit the properties, I hit edit type. That's how I got the information. And as you can see, default thickness, I went back to edit structure, and then I changed the water to 10 feet. All right, that's what I did. That's water. I'm gonna hit okay. All right, so now it's saying, hey, where is this? Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's move this thing down because it's a little bit high. And you say, why is it high? Don't worry about it, guys. We got it. As this is saying 754. Wherever you create the offset, now it's going to do the same thing. So now I can just say datum this. That's why it's so important. Boom. What did I just do now? All right, so now there's the water. Okay. Now you can see the different thing. Now, what if I wanted to create some type of slabs or anything else around this, right? I can create a parking structure. I can do some other things. I can create a bridge based on the site components, parking components. All right. Model site elements. I can put a property line data, cut, build. I can do a bunch of different things based upon this. But it's so important for you guys to understand, like, hey, we're just modifying, creating different surfaces based off what we see. If I wanted to, I could do it off of surfaces and solids too. But the whole goal of this is to go over the topography so you guys understand what it is that we're doing, how we're doing it. You know what I mean? Because now, for instance, now we want to go ahead and put parking structures around here. So now if I need to do that, I'm going to go back over here to floor, because that's what we're using this. And I can say floor. All right, boom. And you see all these different instances right here, slab on joist, road. So in this case, I can just do me like a nice little windy road or something like that. So I can just say, hey, let's do this. All right, or better yet, I'm gonna just do a sidewalk first. And I'm gonna do an offset off the sidewalk. So I'm gonna say, hey, let me do 5 feet. And I'm gonna do offset off of here. Says sidewalk, boom. See how that goes? All right, may look like it doesn't work, right? Okay, and look. Why did it also didn't give me, I want you to see that. So just make sure you understand when you're drawing it, what you need to do. And then also too, why does it look like it's not working? It may say it's overlapped. I want to say that. Why? Because here, I still need to modify the progress. Because I still need this part, okay? If you don't create that center, okay? And then you say, okay, I still don't see it. Yes, because you need to be above that offset to see it. So in this case, we're going to say this is going to be an inch. All right. Now, look, there's a sidewalk. There's the pool, right? No different than anything else that we're creating. I'm just showing you the different avenues of how we can modify the site, how we can modify the stuff. We're utilizing roads, we're utilizing parking lots. So now if I need to go ahead and add a couple different other components to it just to really modify the site. So again, I'm in the floor plan. All right, floors, and then I'm gonna do the same thing as a sidewalk. So I can say, you know, this is gonna be a road. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and just, you know, making, you know, some headway. All right, just doing something, just make a road. And all I'm doing is just clicking randomly right now, just so I can just, you know, it don't have to be perfect, but I want to just show you what we can do. You know, how we can do it. And then let's say road here. Now that's gonna be the road. I'm gonna go ahead and click that. Now if you're in my 3D view, like I said before, just saying, okay, cool. So let's just make sure datum, same thing. And you can do this in your sketch too, by the way. And it's gonna say this, and now just do the same thing. Okay. And then when you're on the road this time, and you have this going through whatever you want. Now the key thing is why I had you here, because now you got a couple different components before we wrap up. Now you got what we've done on the road, pool, excavations, and now you can come back over here. And if you go back to your mess, now look, what can you do? Components, all right? So now what you can go ahead and start to go ahead. See that? You hold the space bar. See what it's doing? All right. And look, it's just saying the same thing. Make sure that you are where you want to be. All right. Make sure before you do it this time. And it's like, okay, the inch. And now I'm like here, put all those different things in, but you can start doing components. You can start going ahead and doing your site. All right. Site stuff. You can do trees. Let me click on this right quick. Look, you can start putting other buildings. You can start different trees. You can start Union Station. You can move around and start to really, really understand like, hey, all right, where's my service? Let me start to put different things down. And if you don't see it, remember what we talked about before. You can add it and say it may not be created. You just need to make sure, look, there's this portion too. You just want to start placing your stuff, moving things over. Now this one said it need to be a little bit further, so it'll say, hey, offset. So you can start to, let me escape that, and you can start to move a lot of the stuff over. As you can see here, I can move a lot of my parking, get things start to moving, and hey, copy, same thing. Start moving all the stuff out if you want to, and really, really start to go, you know, all those different things, but just make sure your elevations are right. But overall, utilizing any of the topographies or anything else, I was just making some stuff just to utilize and say, hey, what is which, how to use it, how to modify it, and even with your topographies. You want to go ahead and say, hey, I want to go ahead and make this a little bit more contour. What I can do is now I can start to go, you see how it's add points? Now I can go in here and I said modify, and then I can go add points, modify points, and I can start to change the elevations to create different contours to manipulate what it is that I'm looking for. That's what is so important. So that's why if you're thinking right now, how do you get that? If you hit edit, then you'll get this portion of it, and then you can either split the line of the contour, you can pick supports to raise it up, you can sub-element the contour, and as you can see, the different contours, depending on what you want your site to be, you want elevations, you can start picking points, putting higher or lower elevation with the different points, and that overall is how you, for a beginner, start to modify sites, start to add parking lots, start to add different components to manipulate the site best upon you want for your environment. Okay? Hope you got a lot for this information, right? I'll supply the sample model, but once again, thank you for watching.